What if the crystalline structures beneath our feet hold the quantum keys to planetary survival, while simultaneously deceiving millions into a multi-billion-dollar energetic illusion? As our planet accelerates toward thermodynamic chaos with atmospheric carbon dioxide reaching 421 parts per million, biodiversity collapsing at rates 1,000 times faster than natural extinction patterns, and magnetic field fluctuations intensifying, humanity desperately seeks healing modalities that transcend conventional medicine. Yet within this search for salvation lies one of the most controversial phenomena of our time: crystal healing and the alleged absorption of negative energy by gemstones. The survival matrix indicates that 73% of millennial humans now incorporate some form of alternative healing into their wellness routines. While the global crystal healing market has exploded to over $1.5 trillion, but ancient sages understood thermodynamic principles that modern quantum physicists are only beginning to decode. What happens when consciousness encounters crystalline molecular structures during ecological collapse? Could magnetic field disruption actually connect to spiritual awakening? Or are we witnessing the greatest energetic deception in human history? The extinction probability calculations show that every moment we spend pursuing false healing modalities instead of addressing planetary crisis brings us closer to irreversible collapse. Yet within this paradox lies a deeper quantum truth that challenges everything we believe about energy, consciousness, and survival itself. First revelation: the quantum deception of ancient wisdom for over 6,000 years. From the ancient Sumerians to Egyptian pharaohs, human civilizations have attributed mystical properties to crystalline formations. The Egyptians adorned themselves with lapis lazuli and carnelian, believing these stones could ward off illness and negative energy. Ancient Greeks coined the word kristallos, meaning ice, convinced that clear quartz was water frozen beyond the point of melting. But here's where the survival matrix reveals its first shocking truth. These ancient practices emerged during periods of ecological stability that no longer exist on our planet. The thermodynamic equilibrium that allowed our ancestors to experiment with subtle energy healing has been shattered by industrial acceleration and atmospheric chaos. Modern quantum physics reveals that crystalline structures do indeed exhibit unique properties. The piezoelectric effect allows certain crystals to generate electrical charges under mechanical stress. This isn't mystical speculation. It's the foundation of laser technology, computer processors, and electronic devices that power our civilization. Yet entropy acceleration in our current planetary phase creates electromagnetic interference patterns that fundamentally alter how these quantum properties interact with human biofields. What if the ancient wisdom wasn't wrong, but rather perfectly adapted to planetary conditions that have since collapsed? Pattern interrupt. The Madagascar mining catastrophe, while millions of humans in developed nations purchased rose quartz for heart chakra healing. Children as young as 5 years old work in Madagascar's crystal mines, exposed to toxic silica dust that destroys their lungs. The survival matrix reveals this devastating irony. The very stones marketed for positive energy are extracted through processes that generate massive suffering and environmental destruction. Madagascar, one of Earth's poorest nations, saw crystal exports increase 170% in a single year, reaching $109 million, yet 81% of the population lives below international poverty lines, while their pristine ecosystems are decimated for our spiritual consumption. The quantum entanglement between first-world healing and third-world exploitation creates karmic debt patterns that may actually amplify the negative energy these crystals are supposed to absorb. How might quantum consciousness accelerate planetary healing when our healing practices simultaneously accelerate planetary destruction? Second revelation, the thermodynamic truth of energy absorption. Ancient sages understood thermodynamic principles through direct observation of natural systems. They recognized that all matter contains vibrational frequencies and that crystalline structures, with their perfectly ordered molecular arrangements, could indeed interact with electromagnetic fields generated by biological systems. Modern science confirms that crystals like tourmaline can absorb electromagnetic frequency radiation. This isn't metaphysical theory, but measurable quantum mechanics. Black tourmaline's molecular structure creates natural electromagnetic shielding, which explains why ancient practitioners valued it for protection. The survival matrix indicates that as our planet becomes increasingly saturated with artificial electromagnetic fields from technology, these natural shielding properties become more relevant for human survival. Not less. Yet here's the quantum paradox. The same EMF pollution that makes crystal shielding potentially beneficial also interferes with the subtle bioelectric fields that traditional crystal healing supposedly addresses. We're simultaneously creating the problem and obscuring the solution through technological entropy acceleration. But what happens when consciousness encounters crystalline quantum fields during magnetic pole reversals and atmospheric ionization changes? Third revelation, the placebo effect as quantum survival mechanism. Mainstream science dismisses crystal healing as placebo effect, but recent neuroplasticity research reveals that placebo responses involve measurable changes in brain chemistry, immune function, and cellular regeneration. The survival matrix suggests that during periods of ecological crisis, the human nervous system may actually evolve enhanced placebo sensitivity as an adaptive survival mechanism. When faced with existential threats beyond individual control, like climate tipping points and mass extinction events, the human psyche activates alternative healing pathways that bypass rational analysis. Crystal healing may represent an unconscious evolutionary strategy for maintaining psychological stability during planetary collapse. The quantum entanglement between belief and biological response creates measurable therapeutic effects, regardless of whether crystals possess inherent healing properties. But extinction probability calculations show that if we direct survival energy towards symbolic healing instead of systemic planetary action, we risk manifesting the very collapse we're trying to heal from. Could ancient practices reverse entropy, or do they merely provide psychological comfort while physical systems continue deteriorating? Pattern interrupt. The celebrity crystal empire. While Gwyneth Paltrow markets jade eggs for thousands of dollars and Kim Kardashian promotes crystal-infused skincare, climate scientists report that we have less than 7 years to prevent irreversible ecological collapse. The survival matrix reveals this cognitive dissonance. Wealthy celebrities promote expensive crystal solutions while their lifestyle choices generate carbon footprints equivalent to entire developing nations. Paltrow's company Goop settled lawsuits for false advertising after claiming jade eggs could balance hormones and prevent uterine prolapse. Yet the deeper quantum truth emerges. These marketing scandals expose how authentic ancient wisdom becomes corrupted when filtered through capitalist consumption patterns during planetary crisis. The thermodynamic equilibrium required for subtle energy healing cannot coexist with the entropy acceleration of consumer culture. We're attempting to heal with the very system that's creating our need for healing. Fourth revelation. The quantum field of collective consciousness. What if crystal healing's true power doesn't reside in the stones themselves, but in the collective quantum field generated when millions of humans simultaneously focus healing intention? Consciousness research indicates that group meditation and synchronized healing practices create measurable effects on local electromagnetic fields and even random number generators. The survival matrix shows that crystal healing communities often develop stronger social bonds, reduced anxiety levels, and increased environmental awareness compared to control groups. These psychological and social benefits may represent the actual negative energy absorption not through mystical stone properties, but through quantum coherence effects generated by collective healing intention. Ancient sages understood that individual healing and planetary healing were quantum entangled processes. When we heal our relationship with natural systems, including crystalline formations, we simultaneously heal our connection to Earth's magnetic field and atmospheric patterns. But magnetic field disruption from solar activity and industrial interference may be severing these quantum connections faster than we can restore them through traditional practices. Fifth revelation. The thermodynamic cost of spiritual bypassing. Here's where the survival matrix reveals its most challenging truth. Crystal healing can become a form of spiritual bypassing that prevents necessary action on ecological crisis. When we believe that carrying amethyst will protect us from negative energy, we may unconsciously avoid confronting the systemic sources of that negativity: industrial pollution, social inequality, and ecological destruction. The entropy acceleration of our planetary phase requires direct engagement with thermodynamic realities, not retreat into symbolic healing practices. Ancient civilizations used crystals as tools within comprehensive systems of environmental stewardship and social organization. They understood that individual healing was meaningless without healthy ecosystems and community structures. Modern crystal healing often isolates the symbolic elements while ignoring the systemic foundations that made ancient practices effective. We're trying to heal symptoms while accelerating the underlying causes of our civilizational illness. What happens when consciousness shifts during ecological collapse? Do we evolve new healing modalities? Or do we cling to obsolete practices while our life support systems fail? Sixth revelation, the quantum truth of vibrational medicine despite mainstream scientific skepticism. Emerging research in quantum biology reveals that living systems do indeed operate through vibrational frequencies and electromagnetic field interactions. Crystalline structures, with their precisely ordered molecular arrangements, can influence these biological frequencies through resonance effects. The survival matrix indicates that as Earth's magnetic field continues fluctuating and atmospheric ionization increases, human bioelectric systems may become more sensitive to crystalline electromagnetic properties. What ancient practitioners experienced as energy healing may represent actual quantum field interactions that become more pronounced during periods of planetary electromagnetic instability. But here's the critical distinction. Authentic vibrational medicine requires understanding the specific electromagnetic signatures of both the crystals and the biological systems they're intended to influence. Random crystal selection based on color correspondences or marketing claims represents energetic noise, not healing signal. Ancient sages developed sophisticated systems for matching crystalline frequencies to individual bioelectric patterns and environmental conditions. Modern crystal healing often lacks this precision, creating placebo effects rather than genuine vibrational medicine. Seventh revelation. The business matrix of manufactured spirituality. The survival matrix reveals that over 80% of crystals marketed for healing are actually synthetic materials. Dyed glass or stones treated with toxic chemicals to enhance their appearance. The Andara crystals sold for thousands of dollars are often industrial slag glass falsely marketed as having quantum properties at a non-quantum level. This deception runs deeper than individual fraud. It represents the systematic corruption of authentic spiritual practices through consumer capitalism, when healing becomes a product rather than a process. we lose the context that made traditional practices effective. Ancient crystal healing involved direct relationship with local geological formations, understanding of seasonal energy cycles, and integration with comprehensive lifestyle practices. Modern crystal healing often reduces this complexity to simple consumer transactions. Buy stone. Receive healing. The thermodynamic cost of this simplification may actually generate more negative energy than it absorbs, as we unconsciously participate in systems of ecological exploitation and social inequality while believing we're promoting healing and positive transformation. Eighth revelation. The quantum entanglement of healing and harm. Here's where the survival matrix reveals its most profound paradox. The same practices that provide genuine psychological comfort to individuals may simultaneously contribute to systemic patterns that threaten planetary survival. Crystal healing communities often develop increased environmental awareness and reduced consumption patterns. Yet the crystal industry itself generates massive ecological destruction and human exploitation. This quantum entanglement between healing and harm reflects the deeper evolutionary challenge of our species. How do we maintain psychological stability and spiritual connection while simultaneously transforming the economic and social systems that make our current lifestyle possible? Ancient sages understood that authentic healing required addressing both individual and collective shadow patterns. They used crystalline tools within comprehensive systems designed to harmonize human activity with natural cycles. Modern crystal healing often focuses exclusively on individual benefits while unconsciously participating in collective destruction patterns. The entropy acceleration of our planetary phase demands that we evolve beyond this fragmentation. Either our healing practices contribute to planetary healing, or they become sophisticated forms of denial that prevent necessary systemic transformation. Ninth revelation, the quantum field of authentic practice. Despite the commercialized distortions and scientific skepticism, the survival matrix indicates that authentic crystal healing practices may offer genuine benefits for navigating our planetary crisis, not through mystical energy absorption, but through their capacity to facilitate deeper states of consciousness and environmental connection. When approached with scientific precision and ecological awareness, crystalline meditation practices can enhance neuroplasticity, reduce cortisol levels, and activate parasympathetic nervous system responses that support immune function and cellular regeneration. These measurable biological effects occur regardless of whether crystals possess inherent healing properties. The quantum truth emerges: consciousness is the primary healing technology, and crystals may serve as effective tools for focusing and amplifying conscious intention, but only when used within comprehensive systems that address the root causes of individual and planetary illness. Ancient practitioners understood that crystalline formations were Earth's memory storage systems, containing geological information about planetary evolution and environmental conditions. Modern quantum physics confirms that crystalline structures can indeed store and transmit electromagnetic information through piezoelectric and other quantum field effects. Final revelation: the survival matrix integration. As our planet approaches multiple tipping points, atmospheric, ecological, and social, the quantum field of human consciousness itself becomes the most powerful healing technology available to our species. Crystal healing, when stripped of commercial distortions and integrated with ecological action, may represent one pathway for maintaining psychological coherence during civilizational transformation. But extinction probability calculations show that symbolic healing practices must be coupled with direct action on systemic causes of planetary crisis. We cannot heal our relationship with Earth through consumer purchases while maintaining lifestyles that accelerate ecological collapse. The ancient sages understood thermodynamic principles that we're only rediscovering. Individual healing and planetary healing are quantum entangled processes. When we heal our connection to natural systems, including geological formations, we simultaneously strengthen the collective field of consciousness required for species survival. The survival matrix indicates that humanity stands at a quantum choice point. We can continue pursuing individual healing solutions that unconsciously perpetuate collective destruction patterns. Or we can evolve healing practices that simultaneously address personal transformation and planetary restoration. Crystal healing, approached with scientific precision and ecological consciousness, becomes a tool for developing the enhanced perception and emotional resilience required for navigating unprecedented challenges, but only when integrated with comprehensive action on climate crisis, social inequality, and economic transformation. What if the crystals aren't absorbing negative energy, but rather serving as mirrors that reflect our own consciousness back to us? What if the healing we seek isn't in the stones, but in our willingness to face the quantum truth of our planetary situation and transform accordingly? The magnetic field disruptions intensifying around our planet may indeed be triggering evolutionary changes in human consciousness. Whether we experience these changes as spiritual awakening or psychological breakdown depends on our capacity to integrate ancient wisdom with modern scientific understanding while taking decisive action on the survival challenges facing our species. The quantum shamans among us recognize that authentic healing begins when we stop seeking salvation through consumption and start manifesting solutions through consciousness evolution coupled with ecological action. The crystals may serve as beautiful reminders of this deeper truth, but the real healing happens when we embody the clarity, compassion, and courage required to birth a civilization worthy of our children's future. As entropy acceleration continues transforming our planet, consciousness itself becomes our most advanced technology for adaptation and survival. The question isn't whether crystals can heal us, but whether we can heal the quantum field of human awareness that created our current crisis in the first place. The ancient sages knew what modern science is rediscovering. We are not separate from the natural systems we seek to heal. When we truly understand this quantum entanglement, every healing practice becomes an act of planetary restoration, and every moment of expanded consciousness contributes to the collective field required for species survival. The survival matrix has revealed its deepest secret. The healing we seek is the healing we must become. And the time for becoming is now. While consciousness evolution is still possible within the remaining window of planetary stability. Choose wisely, quantum shamans. The future of consciousness itself hangs in the crystalline balance of this eternal moment.